6 a.m. The city is already awake. Horns are blaring, phones are buzzing, and people are rushing out the door with tired faces. In the middle of that noise, imagine a man sitting in his small apartment. His boss yelled at him yesterday. Bills are piling up on the counter. His chest feels heavy, but his face, calm, like still water. Nothing shakes him. Not the criticism, not the noise, not even the chaos of life. That image may sound impossible, but the Buddha taught that real peace doesn't come from controlling the world, it comes from within. And when you hear those words, something deep inside whispers, "Could that be me?" Most of us live as if peace is something to chase. A better job, a bigger house, a partner who finally understands us. But the harder we chase, the more restless we feel. Because the truth is, the world never stops moving. It never stops demanding. And yet, there are people who walk through storms with steady hearts. People who bend but never break. What do they know that we don't? The answer lies in timeless Buddhist wisdom. Teachings that are not about escape, but about freedom, while living right here, in the middle of this noisy, unpredictable world. Teachings that show us how to rise above anger, how to let go of past pain, and how to live with compassion without losing our own peace. And here's the twist. This isn't about religion. It's about practice. Small shifts in how we see the world. Daily habits that slowly transform the way we respond to pain, conflict, and change. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that no insult, no disappointment, no challenge could truly control your happiness again. That possibility is real, and in this video, we'll walk step by step into that freedom together. If this message already stirs something in your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, or even share it with someone who may need these words today. That small action helps spread the light of wisdom further, and it's also the most heartfelt thank you this channel could ever receive. So now, let us begin. Let us open the door to the kind of peace that no storm can touch. 1. No one can truly hurt you. Think about this for a moment. Has there ever been a time when someone said something cruel to you? Maybe it was a coworker who mocked your effort. Maybe it was a family member who hit you with words you can't forget. In that instant, it felt like a knife. Their voice, their tone, their judgment, it cut deep. But here's the truth the Buddha pointed out. No one can truly hurt you unless you open the door and let their words inside. Take Michael, for example. He was a man I once knew who always seemed calm, even when people spoke harshly. One day, a neighbor shouted at him in anger, throwing insults like stones. I expected Michael to fight back, or at least defend himself. But instead, he smiled gently and said, "I hear your pain, but I won't carry it with me." Then he walked away. That moment stunned me, because what he showed me is this: pain offered is not pain received, unless we choose to hold on to it. Most of us, though, do the opposite. Someone criticizes us, and we replay it again and again in our heads, like a broken record. We feed the wound with our own thoughts. We allow their words to live rent-free in our hearts, and little by little we become prisoners not of their voice, but of our own attachment to it. The Buddha taught that the real battlefield is not out there in the world, but inside the mind. When anger or insult comes, it's like a spark. If your heart is dry with ego, that spark sets a wildfire. But if your heart is full of awareness, compassion, and mindfulness, the spark lands and simply fades out. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about seeing clearly. When someone tries to wound you, pause, breathe, ask yourself, do I have to accept this gift of anger they are handing me? If the answer is no, then you can leave it where it is unopened. That's the power of mindfulness. It creates a space between what happens and how you respond. And in that space, freedom lives. Now, this doesn't mean you won't feel emotions. Of course you will. We're human. But the practice is learning not to let those emotions define you. Imagine this. You're sitting by a lake. Someone throws a stone, and ripples form. But the lake doesn't hold on to the stone forever. Eventually, the ripples settle, and the water becomes calm again. That is your mind when you practice awareness. Here's something practical you can try. Next time someone says something harsh, before reacting, silently repeat, "Their words are theirs, not mine." Then take one slow, deep breath. This simple act interrupts the chain reaction. It keeps you in control of your inner world. Because in the end, no one can enter your mind without your permission. No one can damage your peace unless you hand them the keys. The Buddha once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love." This is the eternal law. When you choose not to take on someone's anger, you're not only protecting yourself, you're breaking the cycle of suffering. And maybe, just maybe, your calmness becomes the mirror that shows them their own pain. So remember this, the real strength is not in winning arguments or proving others wrong. The real strength is in guarding your peace, in choosing what you allow into your heart. And when you understand that, you begin to walk through life lighter, freer, untouchable. 2. Be grateful for what you have. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to focus on what's missing? We wake up and think about the job we don't have yet, the money that isn't in our bank account, the person who still hasn't shown up in our lives. And in chasing what's missing, we forget to see what's already here. I remember a woman named Sarah. She had gone through a tough divorce, and every day she woke up with a list in her head of what was wrong. The empty side of the bed, the bills stacked on her kitchen counter, the loneliness in her chest. She thought happiness would return only when things changed, when she met someone new, when she earned more money, when life finally gave her a break. But one morning, while drinking her coffee, she paused. The sunlight hit her window in a way she hadn't noticed before. Her dog wagged its tail at her feet, just happy she was there. In that small moment, she whispered, "Thank you." It was simple, but it changed everything. Because gratitude isn't just a pleasant feeling, it's a way of living. The Buddha taught that when we stop craving what we don't have and start cherishing what we already do, peace arises naturally. The mind softens, the heart opens. Suddenly, the present moment is no longer a prison of lack, but a field of abundance. Think about it. Gratitude turns ordinary things into treasures. The morning air becomes a gift. The laughter of a child becomes medicine. Even the challenges become teachers, reminding us of our strength and resilience. And here's the paradox. When we live with gratitude, the very things we once chased, peace, joy, even love, start flowing into our lives naturally. Not because we forced them, but because we created the space for them to bloom. Sarah began a simple practice. Every night before bed, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. Some days it was big. I kept my job. Some days it was small. I saw a beautiful sunset. Within months, she told me, her heart felt lighter. The bitterness faded. Life didn't magically fix itself, but she no longer lived as if she was broken. Gratitude healed her. And it can heal us too. You don't need to wait for life to be perfect to be grateful. You can start right now. Look around you. Maybe you're listening to this video on a phone or a computer. That's already a privilege. Maybe your lungs are breathing, your heart is beating, your eyes are seeing. That's a miracle. The Buddha once said, "Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So, let us all be thankful." Gratitude shifts the story we tell ourselves. From, I don't have enough, to, I already have more than I realized. And when you begin to live from that space, peace is no longer something far away. It's right here, woven into the fabric of your everyday life. So, tonight, before you go to bed, ask yourself, what 3 things am I grateful for today? It might surprise you how quickly your world begins to change, not on the outside, but on the inside. And that inner change, that quiet shift of the heart, is where true happiness begins. 3. Accept what is. Let go of what was. There's a man named David. For years, he carried a heavy weight in his chest. His marriage had ended. His business had failed. Every night, he replayed the same memories, the same arguments, the same regrets. He thought, if only I had done this differently. If only life had turned out another way. But the past doesn't bend to our wishes. The more he resisted reality, the more he suffered. One evening, David sat in meditation for the first time at a local Buddhist center. The teacher's voice was soft, but the words cut through his pain. Acceptance is not giving up. Acceptance is seeing clearly. When we stop fighting what has already happened, the heart finds peace. In that moment, something shifted. He realized he had been wrestling with shadows, events already gone, words already spoken. By holding on, he was hurting himself more than the past ever could. This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It doesn't mean we stop trying, stop caring, or stop moving forward. It means we learn to see life as it is without clinging, without pushing away. The Buddha taught, whatever has the nature of arising will also pass away. That includes joy, that includes sorrow, that includes every chapter of our lives. When we learn to let go, we stop drowning in what should have been and start breathing in what island. Think about it. The storm outside may rage, but if we accept that the storm is there, we can take shelter. If we deny it, we only get soaked. Acceptance is the shelter. David began practicing small steps. Each time his mind wandered back to regret, he would breathe and say to himself, that moment is gone. I am here now. Some days it worked, some days it didn't. But over time, the grip of the past loosened. His laughter returned. His heart felt lighter. And slowly he discovered something surprising. Acceptance opened the door to compassion. Because once he stopped fighting his own story, he could see the struggles of others with clearer eyes. He could sit with a friend in pain, not needing to fix them, just holding space. He could forgive those who had hurt him, not because they were right, but because he no longer wanted to carry the poison. Acceptance gave him freedom, and it can give us freedom too. Right now, there may be things in your life that you wish were different. A loss you can't undo, a mistake you can't erase, a season of struggle you never asked for. But here's the truth. You don't need to love it. You don't need to approve of it. You only need to see it as an island. From there, the heart will know what to do. Acceptance softens the edges of suffering. It turns resistance into resilience. It teaches us that life is not always what we want, but it is always enough for the next step. So take a breath. Look at this very moment. Notice what is here. And then ask yourself, can I allow this to be just as it is, without clinging, without fighting? That simple question might be the beginning of your freedom. 4. See everyone as a teacher. There's a young man named Michael. He always thought of himself as patient, kind, and easygoing. Until one day, at work, a colleague snapped at him. The words were sharp, unfair, and loud enough for everyone to hear. Michael felt his chest burn. His mind screamed, "How dare he?" On the train ride home, anger boiled inside him. He replayed the moment again and again. thinking of what he should have said, what he should have done. But deep down, the pain wasn't just about the insult. It was about his pride. His ego wanted to strike back. That night, unable to sleep, Michael opened a book of Buddhist teachings he had kept on his shelf for years. A single line stood out. When you see others as your teachers, every encounter becomes a path to wisdom. He closed the book and whispered, "Even him? Even the ones who hurt me?" The answer was yes. In Buddhism, every person is a mirror. The kind ones remind us of the warmth we are capable of. The difficult ones test our patience, sharpen our understanding, and reveal the anger still hidden in us. Both are teachers. Both help us grow. The Buddha taught that the world is our classroom, our family, our co-workers, strangers on the street. They all carry lessons. Some lessons are gentle, others cut deep. But all of them point us back to ourselves. Michael began to see differently. The colleague who mocked him was teaching him humility. The impatient driver honking behind him was teaching him patience. The friend who betrayed him was teaching him forgiveness. None of it was pleasant. But slowly, the sting became wisdom. And here's the paradox. Once he started looking at people as teachers, the resentment faded. He no longer saw enemies, only guides, sometimes harsh, sometimes kind. His heart became lighter. His reactions softer. Think about it. How many times have you met someone who pushed your buttons? Someone who seemed impossible to deal with? What if, instead of resisting, you asked, "What lesson is life offering me here?" Maybe the lesson is compassion. Maybe it's boundaries. Maybe it's letting go. When we shift our perspective, the very people who once disturbed our peace become the very ones who strengthen it. The Buddha once said, "If you meet someone who gives you trouble, think of them as a treasure, for they are showing you the places where you are not yet free." Michael's story is not just his, it's ours too. Every day, life sends us teachers in disguise, some dressed in kindness, others wrapped in conflict, but all of them are part of our journey toward wisdom. So next time someone challenges you, pause, take a breath. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? It may not change the other person, but it will transform you. And that transformation, that quiet shift from resistance to learning, is the very essence of Buddhist practice. Because in the end, every encounter is an opportunity. Every face is a mirror. Every person is a teacher. 5. Live ethically. Plant good seeds. Have you ever noticed how life feels heavier when we ignore our values? When we cut corners, tell small lies, or act only out of self-interest, deep inside, we know something feels off. It's almost like carrying an invisible weight that grows with every choice we make. I want to share with you a story. There was a man named Daniel. On the outside, he seemed successful. A good career, a nice house, a life most people would admire. But Daniel had a secret battle inside. He often made choices that went against his conscience. Little things at first: avoiding responsibility at work, being dishonest in conversations, putting his own gain above others. He told himself, it's just the way the world works. But slowly, he started to feel restless. Sleep didn't come easily. Peace was nowhere to be found. Even in moments of happiness, a shadow lingered. One evening, Daniel came across a simple teaching of the Buddha. Just as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame. And it struck him. He realized that true stability in life does not come from wealth, success, or even the opinions of others. It comes from living with integrity, from planting seeds of kindness, honesty, and compassion. That night, Daniel made a decision. He began to live differently. He apologized where he had hurt others. He stopped chasing approval and started choosing what was right, even when it was hard. It wasn't an instant transformation. There were setbacks. But with each honest step, each compassionate act, he felt lighter. The invisible weight slowly lifted. And for the first time in years, he felt at home in his own heart. Friends, this is what it means to live with ethics. It's not just about following rules. It's about creating a strong foundation, like the deep roots of a tree. A tree with shallow roots will fall with the first storm, but a tree grounded in rich soil, with roots deep in the earth, can withstand any wind. In the same way, when we live with honesty, compassion, and respect for all beings, we grow inner roots that nothing in life can shake. Storms will come. Challenges will test us. People may disappoint us. But if our foundation is built on goodness, our heart remains steady. We don't collapse. We don't lose ourselves. Instead, we stand tall with peace. The Buddha often taught that our actions are seeds. Every thought, every word, every deed, these are seeds we plant in the soil of life. If we plant seeds of anger, greed, or deceit, those seeds will grow into suffering. But if we plant seeds of truth, compassion, and integrity, those seeds will blossom into peace. So let me ask you, what seeds are you planting today? Are they the kind that will bring you peace tomorrow? Or the kind that will keep you restless at night? Living with ethics doesn't mean perfection. It means choosing, moment by moment, to return to what you know is right. Even when no one is watching, even when it's hard. That choice is your freedom. Daniel's story is not just his story. It's ours too. We all face the same crossroad every single day. To act with integrity or to cut corners. To plant seeds of peace or seeds of regret. The truth is, living ethically is the greatest gift you can give not just to others, but to yourself. Because peace of mind cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It's earned, step by step, in the way we live. So today, I invite you to see ethics not as a burden, but as a shield. Not as restriction, but as freedom. Not as rules, but as roots. Deep, steady roots that keep your heart unshaken no matter how strong the storm. And remember, when you choose to live with kindness, honesty, and compassion, you are not just protecting yourself. You are planting seeds of peace that will bloom in the lives of everyone you touch. 6. Practice letting go. Trust the process. Have you ever felt exhausted because you were trying so hard to control everything? No matter how much you planned, pushed, or held on, life still slipped through your fingers? It's like gripping sand. The tighter you hold, the faster it falls away. I want to tell you a story about Sarah. Sarah was a woman who believed that if she worked hard enough, she could make everything perfect. Her career, her relationships, even her own emotions. She mapped out every detail of her days. She set expectations not just for herself, but for everyone around her. And whenever something went differently than she imagined, she felt crushed. Her inner voice said, "If I don't hold on, everything will fall apart." But the truth was, the more she tried to control, the more miserable she became. Sleep was restless. Her chest always felt heavy. She lived with the fear of losing what she thought she had to protect. One day, Sarah stumbled upon a teaching of the Buddha. All suffering comes from attachment. At first, she didn't want to hear it. She thought, how can I just let go? If I stop caring, won't everything collapse? But the words stayed with her. She began to wonder what if her suffering wasn't coming from life itself, but from her clinging to how life should be. She remembered another teaching. Life is like a river. If you fight the current, you will exhaust yourself. But if you trust the flow, the river will carry you exactly where you need to go. So Sarah tried something new. The next time her plans fell apart, instead of panicking, she took a deep breath and said, "Maybe this is the river guiding me." The next time someone disappointed her, she didn't hold on to the anger. She let it pass, like a leaf floating downstream. It wasn't easy. Her mind kept trying to grab, to cling, to control. But slowly, she discovered something incredible. When she loosened her grip, she felt lighter. When she stopped demanding that life bend to her will, she noticed doors opening that she never would have seen before. And in the moments she trusted the process, peace began to bloom inside her. Friends, this is the power of letting go. It doesn't mean we stop caring. It doesn't mean we give up responsibility. It means we release the illusion that we can control every outcome. Because the truth is, we can't. The Buddha taught that clinging is like tying ourselves to a burning torch. The more we hold, the more we get burned. But when we set it down, our hands are free. Free to build. Free to love. Free to live. Think about your own life. Where are you holding on so tightly that it hurts? Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's your idea of success. Maybe it's a version of yourself from the past. Ask yourself, what would happen if I loosened my grip? What if, instead of forcing, I trusted the flow of causes and conditions, the natural unfolding of life? This doesn't mean life will always be smooth. Rivers have bends. They have rocks. They have rapids. But the river keeps moving. And so do we. If we stop resisting, even the rough waters carry us forward. Sarah's journey reminds us that freedom is not found in control. It is found in surrender. Not surrender as weakness, but surrender as wisdom. The wisdom to see that life is bigger than our plans and kinder than our fears. So today, I invite you to practice this. The next time something doesn't go your way, pause, breathe, and instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is life showing me here?" Trust that every ending has a seed of beginning. Every loss carries the whisper of renewal. Every detour may be the path you were meant to take all along. The river knows the way. And when you learn to let go and trust the process, you will find that life itself carries you exactly where you need to be. Nurturing, compassion for yourself. Have you ever noticed how harsh we can be with ourselves? We make a mistake, and immediately the voice in our head begins to attack. "You're so stupid. You'll never get it right. No one else messes up like this." It's almost as if we speak to ourselves in ways we would never dare speak to a friend. Let me tell you about Michael. Michael was a father of two, working long hours just to keep his family afloat. One evening, he forgot to pick up his daughter from soccer practice. By the time he arrived, she was the last child standing in the field, tears running down her cheeks. The guilt crushed him. All night he replayed the scene in his mind. He kept telling himself, "I'm a terrible dad." That one mistake became a storm of self-criticism. But here's the question. Did that inner punishment make him a better father? Or did it just weigh down his heart even more? The Buddha once taught, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." And yet, how many of us actually live this way? We think compassion is something we give to others. But we forget that compassion has to start at home with ourselves. Michael eventually came across a mindfulness group where the teacher said something that changed him. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love. At first, he resisted. It felt strange, even selfish. But slowly, he began to practice. The next time he made a mistake, Instead of drowning in guilt, he paused. He placed his hand on his heart and whispered, "It's okay. You're human. You're learning." Something softened inside him. The guilt didn't vanish overnight. But little by little, his heart grew lighter. And here's the beauty. When he became kinder to himself, he naturally became more patient with his kids, his wife, even strangers. His compassion expanded outward because it had finally taken root within. Friends, this is what self-compassion really island. It's not about ignoring our flaws or pretending we're perfect. It's about meeting ourselves with gentleness, even when we fail. Because failure is not proof of weakness, it's proof that we are alive, that we are learning. Think about it this way. When a child stumbles while learning to walk, we don't scold them. We don't say, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you get it right?" We smile. We encourage. We hold their hand until they find balance. Why then do we treat ourselves any differently? The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that compassion begins with the self. Without it, our kindness to others is fragile, easily broken when stress or disappointment arrives. But when we truly forgive ourselves, when we learn to embrace our own wounds with tenderness, our compassion for others becomes limitless. So here's a practice you can try today. The next time you hear that harsh voice in your head, pause. Place your hand on your heart and simply say, "I'm doing my best," and that is enough. It may feel awkward at first, but slowly it rewires the way you see yourself. Instead of being your own enemy, you become your own ally. Remember this, self-compassion is not weakness. It's the foundation of true strength. Because a heart that is kind to itself can never be broken by shame. And a person who forgives themselves can forgive the whole world. So, let me ask you, when was the last time you showed compassion to yourself? Not achievement, not discipline, but compassion. Maybe today is the perfect moment to begin. Summary of key points and reflections. So here we are, at the end of our journey together in this video. Let's pause for a moment and remember where we began. We started with that picture of a man sitting calmly while the world around him was falling apart. Chaos outside, but stillness within. And maybe, when you first heard it, you wondered, is that even possible for me? Now, after walking through these teachings, I hope you can see it is not only possible, it is within reach. Because peace was never about the outside world becoming quiet. It was always about us learning how to carry stillness within. Think about the 7 reminders we uncovered. First, no one can truly hurt you unless you allow their words or actions to control your heart. Pain may knock, but you get to decide if it stays. Second, gratitude is the key to joy. The moment you look around and whisper, "Thank you," even for the smallest things, your life begins to feel fuller. Third, acceptance frees you from the weight of the past. Instead of dragging old shadows into every new day, you can choose to lay them down and walk lighter. Fourth, every person is a teacher. The kind ones show us how to love. The difficult ones show us where we still need patience and strength. Fifth, living with ethics is like planting strong roots. A tree with deep roots can survive any storm. A heart with integrity can withstand any test. Sixth, letting go of attachment allows life to flow. When we stop clinging to how things must be, we finally see how beautifully they already are. And seventh, the one that holds all others together, compassion, beginning with yourself, because only when we treat our own hearts with kindness can we truly extend love to the world. These lessons are not abstract ideas. They are practical tools, keys to unlock a lighter, freer way of living. And the deeper truth behind them all is simple. Happiness is not something to chase. but something to recognize, right here, in this moment. So, let me ask you, have you ever noticed someone close to you carrying peace, even in difficult times? Maybe a parent, a friend, or even a stranger who didn't let anger take over? That quiet strength is not an accident. It's the fruit of practice, and you can grow it too. If this message stirs something inside you, let it be more than just words. Try one practice today. Maybe choose gratitude before complaining, or maybe soften toward yourself the next time you make a mistake. Small shifts, repeated daily, transform everything. And if you're thinking of someone right now, someone who might need these reminders, share this video with them. You never know how deeply a single seed of wisdom can take root in another person's life. If today's teaching touched you, I would be grateful if you left a comment below. Tell me, which reminder spoke to your heart the most? Was it letting go, compassion, or gratitude? Your reflection not only enriches your own journey, it may guide someone else reading too. And yes, if you'd like to walk this path further, you're warmly invited to join this community. Subscribe, not as a duty, but as a way of saying, I'm ready to keep learning, I'm ready to keep growing. Together, we can continue exploring the wisdom of the Buddha, one step, one breath, one video at a time. Thank you, deeply, for staying with me until this moment. Your time is precious, and I honor the choice you made to spend it here. My wish for you is simple. May your days be lighter, your heart softer, and your path clearer. And remember, this is not the end. It's only the beginning. The next video will carry us even deeper into these teachings. Until then, may peace be with you, wherever you are, and may you never forget, happiness is already here, waiting quietly inside you.